Hi, welcome to the channel. I just recently released my first in-depth video on this channel going over Star Wars Republic Commandos. I think it's pretty good, but maybe I'm wrong. Go check it out and decide for yourself. Do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, and if you liked this video, leave a like, and if you didn't, feel free to leave a dislike. My goal right now is to reach 1,000 subscribers so that I can keep bringing you quality content and keep improving. I know, I'm certainly not the first person to do a Frostpunk video, and I certainly won't be the last. My friend gifted me this game around 6 months ago. I had heard people sing its praises online, and I had seen a small bit of it played, but I didn't know much. So, with my limited knowledge of the game and the glowing reviews, I jumped right in. And this game did not disappoint, even with the hype elevating my expectations. The game captivated me. It showed me so many different genres all rolled into one immaculate game. It was a city builder, a survival, a resource management, a strategy, a post-apocalyptic, and a steampunk game, and it didn't sacrifice anything to fit into all those niche genres. If anything, all of these genres built on the foundation of what was already there. When games try to reach new heights or fit into different genres they were never intended to be, to encapsulate a wider audience, they start to sacrifice the vision that game started with. If it's a pre-existing intellectual property, changing it even slightly can lose what people loved about the games in the first place. Whether it be making it a multiplayer and the issues that come with that.
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
Removing almost all sense of exploration and wonder from the game via removing interiors and random encounters. Or just making a PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds clone as a final soulless cash grab for your dying franchise.
And that's it! We have our winner! We are out of time!
But not Frostpunk. It knew what it was, and it didn't need to make any sacrifices to fit into so many categories. With Frostpunk 2's release date hopefully on the horizon, I felt this game deserved to be talked about. The fact is, Frostpunk is not a game that leaves your mind soon after playing it. At least not for me. This game keeps popping into my mind from time to time, and to me, that's just a testament to how good Frostpunk truly is. Frostpunk is a survival strategy city builder, and this game has such an amazing art style, and to its credit, it has a beautiful opening cutscene that I won't ruin by talking.
We roam the still, cold world, no horizon in sight. The rulers of old, stripped of pride and glory. It feels as yesterday we were turning the wheels of progress. Until the frost stopped it all. Suddenly, without a warning. When tides had changed, they changed for all of us, no matter wealth or class. We've lost our world to snow, and with it, our last traces of humanity. We bid farewell to plenty. And for those who remained, came the time to adapt. We decided to leave our homes and head north. We roamed for weeks, maybe months, leaving behind all the things we once believed had made us. It was hope that pushed us forward. Slowly, step by step, we knew the cost of our journey, and we paid the price 100 times. Finally, the time has come to build the last city on Earth.
So, as you may have been able to gather from that cutscene, Frostpunk is set in a steampunk-style 1886, in an alternate world or timeline where overwhelming weather conditions threaten the apocalypse, or the Great Frost, as it's known by the inhabitants of Frostpunk's world, the end of humanity. In Frostpunk, your main resource isn't your wood, steel, coal, or even food. It's a resource that you can't constantly see. Your heat. You can see the heat of an individual building by clicking on it, but the best way to track heat is your heat map. Heat is the most important factor in this game. It determines multiple things, like if the people in your city get sick, and if the people in your city get sick, they have to go to the infirmary or a hospital. While they're recovering in said infirmary or hospital, they can't work. Then you lose out on the resources those workers would have produced. If too many people get sick, they won't all be able to fit in the infirmaries or hospitals, so you need to build more. If you can build more, you need to find more engineers to work at them, possibly forcing them to stop working elsewhere. And if you can't build more, they have to stay at home. And if you're already having trouble heating them, then that's tough, but without sufficient and consistent heat, everyone you are responsible for will die. Every single one of them.
They're dead. Every single one of them.
The gameplay is straightforward, yet complex. You need to manage your resources. Sounds pretty simple. Most importantly, your coal, heat, people, hope, and discontent. But it's the way every one of those resources interacts together that creates the challenge. You need more raw food because people are starving? Okay, build a hunter's hut. Oh, you used all of the wood crates in the area? And you haven't researched the sawmill? That sucks. Now you need to take some people off work and demolish some buildings you've already made to get that wood back. But now you only have enough wood to either research the sawmill, getting you more wood, or make the hunter's hut for raw food, which is why you even started doing this in the first place. So which do you choose? If you choose the sawmill, you need to wait for that to be researched, and depending on how many workshops you have, that could take a while. And while you're waiting for the research to be done, and build the sawmill, and only after you get the wood from that sawmill will you be able to build the hunter's hut. Not to mention, you still have to wait for nightfall to have them go out and hunt, waiting until the morning for them to bring it back, and meanwhile, your people have already probably starved to death. That is the challenge of Frostpunk. Overcoming tough odds and decisions you yourself have made that might have screwed you over. You can see your hope and discontent in 2 bars towards the bottom of the screen. If the discontent bar rises to fill the bar, or the hope bar falls to empty, you'll start a phase in which you have 3 days to raise hope or lower discontent. If you fail to do so, you will be banished from the city, forced to spend the rest of your short life wandering through the frost, and your city will be doomed. The name of the game is resource gathering. Wood, steel, coal, steam cores, prosthetics, raw food, and cooked food. You gather these resources in a multitude of different ways. At first, you send your workers out in the cold, through the snow, to individual resource piles. Either wood crates, steel wreckage, or coal piles, with steam cores, prosthetics, raw food, and cooked food being locked behind specific buildings, upgrades, or exploration. This method is largely inefficient, but it's what you need to jumpstart the building and gathering process. It gives you what you need to make a gathering post, which can not only acquire resources from multiple piles in a radius, but it also only requires 10 workers, 5 less than a single pile, and has a base heat level of 1, meaning it keeps your workers better protected from the cold. It's far more efficient than just sending your workers out to a pile. Once you've gathered enough resources, you can build a workshop. Doing this will unlock your tech tree, which is honestly one of the best upgrade systems I've ever seen. After unlocking the tech tree, the next logical thing to do is to get an upgrade. You have 4 tabs: heating, exploration and industry, resources, and food, health, and shelter. In each of these trees, there are 6 layers. The top is items you can research just by having a workshop. The first tier you need to unlock is called drawing boards. The second tier is called drafting machines. The third is mechanical calculators. And the fourth is the difference engine. And finally, the last is automatic prototyping. In Frostpunk, there are different scenarios. The main scenario, A New Home, has the least developed story of all the scenarios, in my opinion. But it's the one I'd like to cover, seeing as it's what most newcomers will be playing. And I can go over it without spoiling the stories of the other scenarios for anyone who's interested in picking up the game. You and many others are trying to escape the harsh weather conditions that have befallen London. So you embark on your journey, trying to find a place that you can survive. You travel across the world on a dreadnought when you eventually find a generator, the last hope for humanity. According to research done by FelixLive44, he found that the most likely location for Frostpunk to take place is Svalbard. Svalbard, also known as Spitsbergen, is a Norwegian archipelago in the Arctic Ocean, north of mainland Europe. It lies about midway between the northern coast of Norway and the North Pole. How FelixLive44 determined that Frostpunk takes place in Svalbard was by using the game's subtle clues and cross-checking them with existing places. They used the distance from London to Svalbard, the fact that Svalbard has inland rivers, that Svalbard is north of London, and the fact that an ocean separates them. After arriving at the generator, you are appointed as the captain, a title given to all leaders stationed at generators. As the captain, you're responsible for making all of the decisions when it comes to the city. Nothing happens without your say-so. From the very start of the game, anything you might do is varied and specific to you. I normally pause the game, build 3 tents to get a handle on the homelessness issue, and then I send people to collect the surrounding resources. But just recently, I watched someone who was doing a blind playthrough, so they didn't pause the game, and they built a gathering post first, which I thought was a really smart idea. The next important plot thread is using the upgrade system to build a beacon, which you can do on day 2, or you can not build it at all, and either way you can beat the game, as you can see this user did. However, most players will opt to make a beacon, and after the beacon is fully constructed, you are now able to send scouts out to the crash site and the Lost Expedition. And when they arrive, there's a little optional quest of sorts. After constructing the beacon and making a scouting party, you learn that there is another city, which means another generator. You aren't the only civilization left in this frozen tundra. The city is called Winterhome. However, after sending scouting parties out to a few of the outposts that Winterhome set up to collect research data on the storm, you find them abandoned, begging the question, what is happening in Winterhome? Naturally, wanting to find out, you'll send some scouts to Winterhome. When your scouts reach Winterhome, they radio back that the city has been destroyed and that its generator has exploded, leaving it a desolate crater. This causes your hope to plummet and your discontent to skyrocket. Your people are disheartened, and they need their hope restored through new legislation. You can raise their hope through faith and spiritual strength, or through order and discipline, which unlocks a new law tree. This new law tree comes just in time, seeing as if you were signing a new law every time they were available, the law tree would be running a bit short of new, interesting, or impactful laws. After doing a bit of exploring and going to the research stations that the people of Winterhome set up, you find out that the scientists of Winterhome found something. A massive storm is coming, bigger than the likes of anything that anyone has ever seen. Your next important task is to prepare for the Great Frost, as the people of Winterhome called it, which starts on day 43. Your goal is to stockpile enough resources before that day comes so that the people of your city can survive the storm. When the storm comes, it will be too cold for anyone to even work. Everyone will have to stay in their homes. On the day of the Great Frost, the temperature goes down to 90 degrees Celsius and lasts until day 48, 5 mind-numbing days of cold, reaching a low of negative 150 degrees Celsius, until the storm finally ends. The reason I wanted to talk about this game is simply because it's a masterpiece. It's a very simple game mechanically. There are 5 main resources, being wood, steel, coal, raw food, and cooked food. For what it lacks mechanically, it makes up for in its story and presentation. The hope and discontent bars, the scouting mechanic, the law tree, the workshop system, and the heat map. This game gives you the choices that so many bigger games lack. Choices big and small. Small choices like insulating the facilities for your workers, or big choices like forcing children to work. This game gives you the rope. If you're reckless and irresponsible, that rope will most likely be used to hang yourself, condemning you and your civilization and its people to certain death. But if you're diligent and methodical, that rope can be used to tie a knot that can hold your civilization together on the brink of collapse. The tools are all laid out for your success. That success depends on how you use them. I look forward to seeing you all again for a video on Frostpunk 2 when that game comes out, and for another video that I'm cooking up right now. You can find me on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/syncsation, and on Instagram at sync_sation. And if you are interested in buying the game, you can find it on Steam, Epic Games, Xbox, and PlayStation. It's $30, so I'd recommend buying it when it's on sale. Have a great day, and see you next time.